The Saints head coach takes a shot at Sean Payton. Welcome into your Denver Sports Daily for April 9th. Let's get into it.
Taking you through your morning headlines, it's Denver Sports Daily with Rachel Vigil.
New Orleans Saints head coach Dennis Allen sounds like he's had it with Sean Payton's attempts to reconnect with former players and coaches in the Mile High City. I've been calling him the Saints 2.0 for quite some time now, but Payton has signed multiple former Saints players, traded for one in tight end Adam Trautman, and has hired several of his former assistants down in New Orleans. And when asked about whether the Broncos have reached out to the Saints about Taysom Hill, Allen wouldn't rule out the possibility while also providing a nice dig in there as well, going on to say, no, that conversation regarding Taysom Hill has not been broached. Allen said via last word on sports from the annual NFL owners meeting in Florida, look, I like Sean. I feel like Sean has tried to get everyone to go to Denver with him, so we will see. Quite a jab, I will not lie. But yeah, to be completely honest, it feels like that. Sean Payton has definitely tried to make the Denver Broncos Saints 2.0. Feels like almost every other week we're like, oh, another player's coming over. So was the jab appropriate? To be completely honest, in my personal opinion, I would say yes. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche forward Mikko Rantanen took a hard hit against the Edmonton Oilers on Friday night. Now, there's some good news and there's some bad news about his condition looking ahead. First of all, Mikko Rantanen was spotted at Avalanche practice on Monday. This is encouraging after he sat out Sunday night in the loss to the Dallas Stars in concussion protocol, and several local reporters captured video of Rantanen on the ice at Ball Arena. Huge shout out to Jesse Montano of Guerrilla Sports for that video right there. However, after practice, head coach Jared Bednar already ruled out Rantanen for Tuesday night's game against the Wild. Forward Mildwood will also miss the game against Minnesota as well, and the Avs have just 4 more regular season games. That is crazy to say. Hopefully Mikko is feeling better. It's great to see him out on the ice. But like I said, the Avalanche will in fact be playing the Minnesota Wild tonight. They sit at 37, 31, and 9 on the season. It is a 7:30 p.m. puck drop. The Colorado Rockies have never been the worst team in Major League Baseball, but that could change in 2024. The Rockies are off to a 3-8 start. Only the Miami Marlins and Chicago White Sox have a worse record. And right now, odds makers have the Rockies at plus 210 to be the season's worst team, followed by the White Sox at 270, the Athletics at 280, and the Nationals at 490. And then the Marlins come in at 2,700. So Fangraphs now has the Rockies win total projected bouncing around 60. Yikes. Which would rival the club's worst record of 59 wins just a season ago. Now, like I said, the Rockies did get a win yesterday. Woo woo! 7-5 against the Diamondbacks, but they have another one tonight, 6:40 p.m. Mountain Time here in the Mile High City. So make sure you tune into that one as well. Can they get a second straight win? Wouldn't that be lovely? Last night, if you watched UConn win their second straight title on Monday night after beating Purdue 75-60, then you would say the game was kind of boring. Don't hate me for saying that, but I thought the women's championship game was a lot more entertaining. But Tristan Newton led the team with 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds. And the Huskies held Purdue to only 1 3-pointer the entire game. Yes, you heard me say that right. Only 1. And it's the first time a team has won a back-to-back since Florida did it in the 2006-2007 season. And guess what, everyone? I picked UConn to win it in my bracket. So even though the rest of my bracket sucked, you pick the winner. I still think you get a little bit of a prize. So I'm going to crown myself a champion on this as well. Here's another interesting thing about just the time zones in general that I find this fact to be very interesting. The national championship game started at 9:22 Eastern time, and it ended at 8:31 Pacific time. So the game ended in the West before it even started in the East. And I just, for some reason, find that to be so strange and unique and just, I don't know. Like, I know how all the time zones work, but it's just crazy that it literally ended before it had even started in the West or in the East. And so that's what I'm going to say. It's way better to be a West Coast sports fan for sure. This next Mile High Minute is brought to you by Smashburger. So first, it was the Las Vegas Aces. Then it was the Kansas City Chiefs. And then on Monday night, it was the Connecticut Huskies. And it seems like everybody this year is cooking up repeats for their title run. Now, could that be good news for the reigning ring champion Denver Nuggets? Man, I sure hope so. They will be taking on the Utah Jazz tonight. The Jazz aren't a crazy good team. 29-49 on the season. Nuggets 54-24. That's a 7 p.m. Mountain Time tip. But the Nuggets are 1-14 in Utah since Michael Malone became a head coach. And he spoke on this interesting stat yesterday with the media. Take a listen.
I think it's jet lag. That's a really long flight. And I think we have a hard time. And we don't really acclimate to the altitude very well. We're not used to that. I think, to your point, 1-14 is, I can't put my finger on that one. They were really good for many years, obviously. You had the Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert teams. So that's part of it. We've had some wars with that team. And then, it's just they have a great home court. Their crowd is terrific, like ours is. So, but 1-14, I would not have guessed that one.
Now, there is a lengthy injury report for the Denver Nuggets. KCP is on there, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Julian Strawthard. Questionable is Aaron Gordon, and then out is obviously Vlatko Čančar. But I would say that this is more of a let's not worry too much about these injuries and more of a, hey, we want to just rest somebody because we have a massive back-to-back with the Nuggets taking on the Timberwolves tomorrow night. So I wouldn't be too worried when you see all of these names popping up on the injury report. Jamal Murray, obviously, you're looking at it a little questionable, but Aaron Gordon also. Otherwise, I wouldn't be too worried about any of it. 4 more NFL teams begun their offseason workouts yesterday. The Panthers, Patriots, Seahawks, and Titans all kicked off their voluntary offseason program. Now, the Falcons, Chargers, and Commanders started their programs last week, while the rest of the league, including the Broncos, will start on April 15th. We love a good tax day start. So teams hold a total of 9 weeks of offseason workouts, all of which is optional outside of a mandatory 1-week mini camp in June. So yes, the NFL season indeed has already begun. Again, it's crazy to think about that. Now, we talked a little bit about the men's NCAA tournament. Let's talk about the women's NCAA tournament. The national championship game on Sunday, April 7th, attracted a ton of viewers. So ESPN chairman Jimmy Pitaro said in a statement, with a record-setting audience of 18.7 million viewers, Sunday's Iowa South Carolina title game was the final game and the most watched ever NCAA women's basketball tournament. Absolutely crazy. Caitlin Clark even chimed in a little bit saying 18.7 million with the fire emoji. South Carolina, won 87-75. Over Iowa is the most watched basketball game of any since the 2019 season. So huge shout out right there. It is crazy to think how far women's basketball came. And I'm going to be completely honest. Like I said, I thought the women's game was far more entertaining than the men's game was this year. And maybe it was because of the storylines that were included with it. But I just thought that it was such a fun game to watch. So just know that 18.7 million people also tuned into it along with myself is so freaking cool. All right. On that note, I see one comment we got rolling. Rockies rule, believe. I know somebody actually that placed a bet on the Colorado Rockies to win the World Series this year. And if that happens, he ends up winning like $2,000 or something like that. So maybe they could. I don't anticipate it. I think we're more going to see the story we talked about with them having the worst record in baseball. But you never know what can happen. You got to believe and just be a fan. So that is going to do it for this episode of your Denver Sports Daily. Appreciate you hanging out with us every single day. Come hang out with myself and Will Peterson at 12 p.m. for coffee break. And we're going to sit down, chat some sports, whatever ends up coming into mind. And we'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful Tuesday, everybody. Get back to work. Bye.